Hello. I was gonna make this on TikTok, but I thought I've been putting off making a video here for so long that I thought I'd finally do that. One of the things I wanted to discuss is some of the online discourse that I'm seeing around pretension in reading, accessibility to books, consumerism, and whether or not books are political. And there's so much I have to say about all of that, naturally being an opinionated person, but also as a reader, someone who cares about reading, somebody who's worked in education and has other friends who work in education. And I've seen multiple people talk about illiteracy crises in adolescents and adults, and also who sees a lot of content that's just really negative and pessimistic about this. I'm an avid reader. I read about, on a good year, between 75 and 110, but I know people who read hundreds more than me, people who only read a few books a year, a lot of people who read nothing at all. And part of the reason I wanted to post here at all is that I've watched for so long, and I think it's enjoyable to be part of a community where people just enjoy talking about books. I want to try and keep this short because if there's one thing I'm not good at, it's brevity. But one of the things with some of this discourse that I want to push back on is the accessibility to books themselves. And I kind of want more of us to question kind of our relationship to consumerism when it comes to books and media. Because one thing that I will stand firm on is that this does not by any means have to be an expensive hobby. I understand, I've had book lists for school where I've had to go spend hundreds of dollars on different textbooks and other stuff like that. And there's instances where it's less of a choice. I don't want to get too deep into it right now. But I do think people kind of have created this false boogeyman of a person, a voice that is telling them to buy all the newest series and the nicest editions. And I like those things too. I enjoy collecting books that look pretty and that are bound well and that are truly just collector's editions. But not for the sake of just collecting. I enjoy reading. I enjoy hearing stories. I enjoy learning about things that I will otherwise never have an opportunity to learn about, to engross myself in, somebody's niche expertise that I will never be that knowledgeable about. That's fascinating to me. But what I wanted to speak about today were just a few resources that I often use and have used to listen to and read free books online. One of the great things about classics is that so many of them are in the public domain, which means, especially for ebooks, you can get them 100% free. A resource I used a lot, especially when I was in my last few years of high school and first few years of university, was LibriVox, which is a website or a phone app where volunteers read works that are in the public domain. There's a huge variation in the quality of recording, but I could say that for Audible as well. You're not going to get the production quality that you get with newer Audible recordings. It can be a great way to listen to a book for free. I think it was essential for me getting used to how older literature was meant to sound or how to read it. And then I was able to, when I was actually reading a proper book, I could do it much faster and easier. So I would encourage you to check that out. That website's been great. I mean, there are some duds on there, but there's some really great resources. I wanted to talk about Project Gutenberg, which is a website where there are hundreds of thousands of public domain books uploaded under different file types and different editions. They're all free. They're all free. They can be downloaded on your phone, your e-reader, your computer. You could print them off if you wanted to. But these things are completely free. And so when people talk about, you know, I understand the idea of a really long, you know, Dickens novel or Tolstoy being daunting to a person. But as a person who cares about the accessibility of reading, I can't perpetuate the idea that reading has to be an expensive hobby. It absolutely doesn't at all. And furthermore, there are so many within these free books that are actually quite small novels or novellas if you're just interested in trying something out. So if you're willing to give works in the public domain a try, it's certainly worth it to look into these resources. And I guess lastly, one thing that I hope would go without being said, but I'm not sure it does, and I think a lot of people are unaware of the scope of resources that these places offer, but please make sure you're looking into your local library. Of course, when you have a library book, there's limitations to how you can annotate it and do stuff like that if it's of interest to you, or if you're having to read for school. But leisure reading, I mean, there's so much. Libraries offer so many resources with physical books. They'll often get in things through interlibrary loans or order things in if you put requests in. And they often allow people to, when using the resources remotely, borrow digital ebooks and audiobooks. So I feel pretty committed to making whatever this is the same as I've done on Instagram. It not about I just don't want to feel strangled by consumerism, and it's not a feeling I've personally felt, but it's clear that some people have. Resources might be of help to you to some degree. So thank you for listening to me yap about this for however long. I hope it can be of help to somebody. And yeah, I'll try to actually make an introductory video over the next couple weeks, since that probably should have been my first one. But thank you.